Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to the Silk Song.
It's not Silk Song Day. Don't worry. Tomorrow is Silk Song Day. Hey, Astro Kitty and Celestial Prairie Dog. Tomorrow is Silk Song Day. Today, we're doing more Titans. I hate to tell you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Silk Song isn't out until tomorrow. But don't worry, it's definitely out tomorrow. Would I lie to you? I'm going to putter around for a couple of minutes talking about Wuthering Heights at the start of stream because it's not 9 o'clock yet. I'm not imagining that I'm going to be playing it for much longer. It's kind of it's got like an interesting fusion system. Like the way that it handles equipment, I think, is kind of interesting. The way that it handles leveling is very dull, and I think that this is the industry standard for the way that leveling systems work in these kinds of games, which to me indicates these kinds of games are kind of going to be garbage to play because everything's going to feel very samey the entire time. There's like a very rigid range of expected values for everything to take, and I'm not. It's basically like everything that people complained about it with Final Fantasy VIII, but less interesting in my mind to what Final Fantasy VIII does it, and with a lot of weird shit in it. Hey, live forever and ever. So an example of something that I find weird is that in AFK Arena, the leveling system, you have two basic resources, one of which, I guess you have three because you have gold or something. I think gold is maybe used. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't think it is. You have basically experience and you have essence or whatever, right? And those are the two resources that you need for leveling a character. And that's basically what happens in this system, except they make it needlessly complicated by, instead of giving you an item that represents experience that you can deliver to your party members, there's 15 of them. There's 15 items that are all just experience. They're not anything interesting. They're just experience in 1,000, 8,000, 80,000. They're just increments of experience. It's you could just give me a larger amount of a resource that's worth one. Part of my difficulty in parsing the user interface and parsing the way that everything worked in the beginning is that there's so many items that you're getting of various kinds that are completely impenetrable to me. Because I'm well, what the fuck is this supposed to do? And then I have to go through the UI to look at the item description and go, okay, this is another thing that just gives experience or whatever, right? Not a huge fan of that. Okay, it is actually after one. I need to get started. But it's just one of those things where it's that to me reads as iffy. I don't know why they do it, other than maybe to encourage people to not think about the systems, which is a weird thing. Because it's okay, well, how do I interact with the system? Just ignore it. It's 9:01. It's 9:02 now. It's now after 9:01. I don't know what I said, but the is this the file we were using, or were we using the other file? So anyway, I got through the first major storyline in the game and unlocked the mascot character. And as soon as I unlocked the mascot character, I'm I could be doing something else with my time. I could not deal with this, annoying 8-year-old. I could instead do anything else. The particularly funny thing is that I am famously pretty good with kids. People in my family are always comment on how good I am with kids, how kids naturally like me, and I'm good at interacting with them. And it's very funny that in video games, like, anything that's coded as a child, I'm just like, get that fucking creature away from me. Which is just not true in the real world. That's just not how I interact with kids. But, like, for whatever reason, maybe it's because the people who are writing for video games are all childless, so they don't know what children are like. They never interact with them in their lives. So, like, they make these characters and they're just annoying assholes. I don't know what to tell you. You know, like, I've never seen a kid in real life who's like half as annoying as like the least annoying mascot character who's coded to be a child. Yeah, so in Genshin you get your like annoying sidekick character at the very beginning. In this game, they lull you into a false sense of security by giving you like exclusively like there's like a guy who joins your party, I guess, for like 5 seconds. So there's like one guy, but it's like exclusively like young women who join your party for the entire, you know, several hours of the game. And then they follow it up with, oh, by the way, that annoying voice that you heard somewhere in the beginning of the game, well, guess what? They've got a whole model, and they've got heterochromia, and it's very cool and interesting. That was the only issue that I had with the plot, but it was indicative. The apex battle of the first like plot line, the big set piece battle had a bunch of like narrative tropes that I absolutely just hate. Like they're very common in video games. They're less common anywhere else. But I think they happen periodically in like movies and stuff like that too. But like, you know how like in games they'll have like that big super huge cannon that's like a weapon of mass destruction, and they make a huge deal out of it being fired for the first time in like several decades, and then within like 2 minutes of it being fired for the first time in human history, it's being used to clear away rubble because like in like a building. Like that trope where it's like, wait, you just said you could wipe out a city with this, and you just used it to like tactically knock one part of one wall down? What are you doing? Like, this is it was bad enough that when you used it in the cutscene, it didn't make any sort of an explosion or look interesting. But now I'm using it to like make my pathfinding through a building easier. What the fuck is going on? Oh, we can only fire this 3 more times. It's like, what do you mean we can fire it 3 more times? I thought it was like the entire city like defense budget went into shooting the weapon once so that you could do the thing at the beginning that could only be done with that weapon, and now we can just use it as much as we want. What the hell's happening? I hate that trope. Which is sadly a trope. I don't know why. I have no. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like it's not even like it's like using an animation resource over again. It's like using a narrative resource over again. It's like, my guy, you don't get more benefits out of the narrative resource by using it twice, by calling reference. You can call reference to anything you want an unlimited number of times. It's like, it doesn't. You don't. Like, your accountants will not thank you for using the term for this disruptor cannon or whatever, 6 times instead of 3. Like, there isn't like a line item on your budget that's tied into the disruptor cannon's references in the narrative. You don't need to reference it a bunch of times. It's fine. Anyway, it is what it is. So my guess is that I'm probably not going to be playing it much longer, especially because I have better action games that I'm going to be playing soon, because Silk Song's coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow we get Silk Song. So we'll be able to play that instead of... I guess we won't be able to play that instead of Wuthering Heights. I still need something to do in my spare time that isn't streaming. Life is sad. Yeah, since I think I now understand to some degree or another how the banner system for this game works, and I think that this game is using something that's bog standard for its genre, and Genshin is the like genre defining game, so I assume it has the same systems. The banner system is like kind of irrelevant and like dull. Like the poker aspect of it is a lot less influential when you're like dealing with as like okay, that's a problem. When you're dealing with when you're dealing with a single player action RPG, like honestly, like almost like who gives a shit? Like it's like I don't understand it. I generally don't understand why people put money into games like this in general, and I really don't understand it with a game like this because like, is Astro Kitty still in here? Did I link? I didn't link, did I? I didn't link. I have questions for the person who got me on this arc. Okay. So I had a question, and then I remembered that I didn't actually link, so now I don't remember what the question was. Can you remind me what the question that I was going to ask you is? I know I didn't ask it yet, but could you remind me what it is? Let's see here. Oh, the difficulty. So in the difficulty system of the game, do you basically you level up, and then as you level up, you unlock functionally like you don't play Dark Souls, right? You unlock the ability to upscale the enemies to a higher level, and they're the same enemy, they're just higher level. And you fight them, and they're the same, but they're higher level. So you like are leveling up, and then you level up the enemies to you, and at higher level enemies drop shinier things, which then allow you to level up further, and also level up your account further, which allows you to give you higher level enemies again, right? Like, so you're basically getting to the power apex of your current difficulty setting, or whatever power level you want to get to on your current difficulty setting. And then you're switching up to the next difficulty setting, and you can go down to the previous difficulty setting whenever you want. Within reason, you can only do it like once every 12 hours in this game, right? So, the thing that I'm confused about with a system like that is like, in this game, I basically unlocked all of the interesting mechanical stuff that's going to happen immediately. Outside of really finicky stuff with gear. So like, the question that I have is like, what's the point? Like, you don't unlock harder content, really. Like, the content is kind of the content. It seems pretty samey. Like, I was doing quests that were meant to be done at a higher world level, right? Earlier on in the game. And like it's like, okay, yeah, the enemies can two-shot you instead of like four-shot you or whatever, and yeah, it takes like 15 minutes to kill the boss, but like on a fundamental level, like it's not really that different. And the thing that I'm curious about is like, why would someone spend money to do the same thing they're already doing, to fight like the same enemies that they're already fighting, and feel the same level of relative power compared to those enemies as they are already feel. Like, I'm just very confused about the monetization system and what the incentive structure is behind it, because like you can buy weapons. Like, you can buy weapons. Like, why would you? Who cares? You're on a treadmill. Like, why would you buy a weapon to slightly speed up the treadmill? It's a very confusing thing, because it's like, it's not like, I don't get it. I just. So like the way that I would describe it is like, imagine you were playing. It's hard to say Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild isn't really an action game. But it is kind of like, imagine you were playing Breath of the Wild and you could pay money to increase the number that appears over the head of yourself and the enemy by like a factor of 10. Right, so it's like, okay, so in Breath of the Wild, instead of my sword doing 10 damage, it's doing 100 damage, but the goblin has 10,000 HP instead of having 1,000 HP, and looks identical and has the exact same abilities. Right? Like, but how long does it take to get to the end game? Like, how many hours does it take to get to the end game? Because prior to the end game, what are you even doing? Other than killing the same enemies over and over and over again, right? Because, like, one of the things that I find interesting is that, like, there's a cool system in the game that allows you to collect echoes from enemies. And the thing is that you can't really farm them, which is, like, a little surprising to me. Like, you would think that you could farm them, but you can't really realistically farm them, because the maximum quality they have is low enough that you're just going to, over the course of just exploring randomly, you're going to get to the maximum quality that you have for, like, everything very rapidly, because there's not that many creatures that you have access to at the beginning of the game. So, like, the mechanic that's the most interesting, you run into a brick wall almost immediately. And I don't know how far I need to continue in the plot in order to get more, but like... Let's see. So is like the intended expectation that someone doesn't even engage with any of the systems until they reach the end game? Is that like... Is that the expectation with Genshin? That, like, unless you're doing a very specific, like, post-game dungeon, you just don't care about any of the mechanics of the game? And so when you say it's mathematically almost impossible, you mean that because they put a arbitrary time limit on it, right? I'd assume, which means that any character that isn't specifically geared toward maximizing your DPS is, like, completely useless. That's what I would assume when you say it's mathematically almost impossible, because you can just dodge. Like, you can just get good in an action game. I've already run into time limits in things, though most of the time limits have been very generous outside of the puzzles. See, the thing that I'm curious about is I'm curious about this because of the fact that I'm like, I don't know how they get the monetization done. Right? Like, I actually don't know how they're handling the monetization because I'm very confused why someone would pay money to get a better weapon that just allows them to, like, slightly faster, do stuff. Gotcha. God, that sounds incredibly dull. Like, enrage timers can be fine, okay? There's nothing wrong intrinsically with enrage timers. Even having, like, generic enrage timers can be okay. Though I would generally prefer to not have enrage timers. Certainly in a single player game. But, like, I understand from, like, a practical perspective, from, like, a balance perspective, justifying the existence of DPSers in your party in a raid by saying, okay, well, you can't complete this raid unless you can kill the boss within 10 minutes. Look, I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I understand you. It's fine. That's reasonable or whatever. So that you don't have, like, 15 tanks and 20 healers and just kill the boss over the course of an hour very safely and very comfortably. I get it. I get you. I understand you. I respect you or whatever, right? Maybe I don't respect you, but I get you. But, like, having like enrage timers be the primary thing that you're gearing for is very, like, okay, so this is, like, just schlock then, right? Like, this is like, imagine fighting a boss and the thing that kills you is the fact that you run out of time. Like, that's just really, like, because, like, I'm sure that most people who are watching this haven't played things with enrage timers and haven't played, like, gotcha slop or whatever. So, like, the idea of, like, yes, so you're doing a time trial, right? Like, this very specific boss specifically has a time limit. That's a cool and interesting challenge. You need to maximize for DPS with this boss. Okay, yeah, sure, I get you. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about every boss. The thing that is going to kill you is not the fact that it actually kills you, but the fact that you're going to run out of time. And the way that they gatekeep players from progression is making it mathematically impossible to make the boss's HP bar disappear in time if you don't have sufficient gear. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, you could sit here dodging every single attack with perfect timing. If you're not doing enough damage per hit, the boss simply won't die. It's like if like regen enemies in this game didn't have their HP regen lowered by every time they get hit. It's basically that kind of a mechanic. Where it's like, okay, if your numbers are too low, you simply can't clear. Okay, I get you. Well, that's unfortunate. Like, I do think, like, it's an interesting concept. Like, I think that those kinds of games conceptually are kind of cool. But think about, like, from the perspective of, like, coming from, like, AFK Arena, the reason that you wouldn't be able to clear enemies in AFK Arena would be they killed your party. They wipe you, right? Like, if you're trying to make progress in AFK Arena, the way that you progress is through all sorts of crazy shenanigans, right? But, like, on a fundamental level, so, like, you're basically looking to have massive amounts of burst damage right at the start of the battle that also involves some crowd control, so that in the first, like, so that basically you can kill the entire enemy team before they get a chance to take advantage of the fact that they have triple your stats and they just wipe you. But what rewards matter? That's the question, is what rewards matter? Matter in what way? If everything is a treadmill and you're fighting the same thing over and over and over again without any real... Well, that's the... But the thing I'm curious about is why the banner currency matters in the first place. Because you could just play through the whole game and completely ignore the leveling system. You could just leave yourself at the lowest difficulty setting the entire time and just play through the entire game. If you want to just play the game, you can just play the game. You don't need the banners at all. What are the banners for? Because waifu. Is it literally just because waifu? But if it's because waifu, then why do the banners allow you to buy weapons? That's the thing that I'm confused about. If it was just because you could buy waifu with them, then why do you have weapon banners? Why have weapon banners that don't... I'm so confused by that. Hey, Electra the Dragon. Needs the prettiest stat stick. But is it... But, come on, the prettiest stat stick is probably given to you for free, though. It would just be the stat stick that has the highest numbers on it, wouldn't it? Does waifu need the prettiest stat stick or the stat stick with the highest numbers? I don't get it. Look, I'm just gonna say, I don't think that these action gotchas make any sense to me. I don't understand their monetization model. I don't understand anything about them. They're very confusing to me. I understand on a fundamental level how Infinity Nikki's monetization system works. I get it. Intuitively, it just makes sense. It's like, oh, okay, you want the dresses because they're mechanically important and also because it's a dress-up game, so you obviously want to dress up your character. Gotcha. 100% on board. I understand what you're... I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm getting it. I'm comprehending it. I understand. I understand in AFK Arena. You want to spend money because if... Look. I need to get this dimensional. Okay, look. I need to get Arthur, because if I get Arthur has this ability that reduces all damage taken from the front, but also he buffs all of the people directly behind him with an attack speed buff. So what happens is, if I pair Arthur and this other character with Gwyneth, then Gwyneth can shoot at the very start of the battle 2 arrows that electrocute the backline, do a shit ton of damage, and crowd control. And then if I add in that guy whose name I don't remember, who does the whirlwind shit, then he can also open the battle with his thing if you've invested heavily enough into him, which requires the premium currency, which unlocks this special ability that he has to gather all of the enemies into a group, which allows you to pull off this crazy cool combo that allows you to push harder and push further, right? That allows you to do cool stuff. I get it with regards to that. But I'm just like playing the game and I'm like, what am I pushing? I'm just walking through the plot. The plot doesn't require that I get good. I just don't upgrade the difficulty. I don't have just one save left. I actually have several saves left. So what I'm looking to do right now is so right now the problem that I'm running into is I need to deal with this group here before I can really move into here. Because this group is just badly positioned right now and is causing me problems. If I can get into this room, see this enemy here? This Titan, I think he's stuck. Right? This Titan right here, almost certain that he's stuck right here. These enemies can get stuck between these pillars. So if I can get to this room, which I could easily do with Invis, but I don't have Invis. If I could get into that room, I can clear to 65%, no problem. There's no question. The big difficulty for me in this is going to be clearing this. Okay, there is some question as to whether I can clear to 65% using just that room. If I can get to the room I need, which I don't know which room it is yet, but if I can get to the room, we're golden. So right now we have one save left. There's a decent before we have to start using resources, but we have resources available. We can use resources for this. We have some saves available. So the thing that I'm trying to do right now, the goal that I'm trying to accomplish, is getting a proof of concept on that room, and that might actually like get us everything that we need. So what I'm doing right now is actually very efficient in that I'm trying to clear this entire pack. I got every enemy but one in this pack locked in this corner just now, and if I can get every single one of them in this corner and just kill this pack, my life gets real smooth for a while. Now I only have one save, so for a while isn't very long, but I don't know what Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All is. Is that like a mobile game or something? Is that another gacha game? Shouldn't they call it Pokemon Gotcha Catch 'Em All? Gotcha Ketchum? Ketchum? That's the name of the mobile game. The Pokemon mobile game has to be Gotcha Catch 'Em All. Let's see. The monetization is like But why would you? That doesn't make any sense. They all look this. They all look the same. They're not that differently like designed. Like some of them are a little different, but they're like pretty generic. You know, the monk looks like every fucking monk I've ever seen in every game. Like, you can just play a game where they don't monetize it and just get the character for free, and it's the same fucking person. It's the same character. But I don't know. I don't know. It's. I find it unusual. I just don't. I don't get it. I guess I just don't understand why people play games. Part of it has to do with the fact that I'm so completely unmotivated by visuals. So, like, visuals are so completely irrelevant to me in a game that, like, that does influence the way that, like, I think about things. Because, like, I know that people like looking at their video games or whatever, but I'm happy. Like, if I'm playing a game, I'm happy to have this entire screen filled up with bullshit, and the only thing I'm looking at is this minimap down here. I'm perfectly content to stare at nothing but my minimap. God damn it. Nothing but my minimap the entire time I'm playing. That's me. But, so I guess that's part of it, but I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, is what's happening that basically the like some of the most toxic elements of idol culture have been transposed into the mobile gaming space, so you now have people who have this weird... Because, like, the waifu thing is, like... I guess that's kind of a real phenomenon, right? Like, people actually are obsessed with random video game characters? Right? Like... But, like, I just find it strange. I just don't get... I think that part of it does come down to the fact that as a culture, and this is a global culture thing, we value paying more than we value doing. Right? Labor... the person who invented a thing is not going to get credited for it. Their company is going to get credited for it. The like, Elon Musk is going to get credited as the person who made some cool SpaceX technology, not the, like, 15 scientists who did the thing, right? Like, in the general cultural consciousness, paying for the thing is doing the thing. So I'm wondering if part of it has to do with that, where people... Because, like, I know that people will, like, play competitive games, and they'll pay tens of thousands of dollars to have the number one place on the leaderboard that they just paid for. You just gave money to be at the top of the leaderboard. And I find that incredibly strange. Like, just as a concept, because it's like, well, obviously that's not real. Right? Like, you're not really the best player, you're just the person who spent enough money and also happened to get lucky enough to get ahead of the other people who spent the most money. Because it's not like, look, it's not like whales are good at the games they play, okay? Let's be clear. This is a thing that, like, people who are like dolphins will periodically talk about, is like these like mid-tier spenders will talk about the fact how it's like, okay, we have limited resources to play with. The people who have all the resources to play with are just looking up a guide that tells them exactly what they're supposed to do and then just doing that. They have no ability to counterplay or to do, you know, any of the like thingamabobbers. Now, how much of that is cope from people who are dolphins, who want to pretend that they're better than the whales? I don't know, but I will say that as a free-to-play player, I've absolutely just demolished plenty of people who put a lot of money in their account. Not a lot in gacha terms, but a lot in terms of like, man, this person spent like $500 on this account over the course of the last 12 months, and I just fucking wrecked them. Like, and look, it felt good for a while. But then eventually you notice the trend where people will start spending money after you beat them, and then you're like, ooh, what are the downstream consequences of the fact that I just, like, beat this person? Like, is this person's kid not going to college because they're trying to compete with me on the leaderboards? And, like, stuff like that is, like, things get a little dicey there, and I stopped being able to feel so good. I like being able to compete with people in an unfair playing field because I don't have to feel bad about it. But then I realized there's real consequences to this uneven playing field, and they aren't even just consequences to the person who's being exploited. There are consequences to the fucking families of the people that are being exploited. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Anyway, point being, I understand how those systems work. I don't really understand. I don't understand how the Gachaverse works, though. Or the action gacha games work. In part, just because it's so like. I guess the goal is just no thought. Like, the goal is to put the player into a position where they are legitimately simply not thinking about what they're doing on any deep level, and it's all aesthetics. Because it's like, well, how would I know what characters I want to invest in to pay money for? Like, how would I even know that? And the answer is, I guess, waifu, right? Like is it literally just, okay, this is the 13-year-old that looks the prettiest to me? Like, is that literally what they're going for? Is that it? Like, because look, there's way too many children. I'm just gonna say it. There's this fucking, you know, Wuthering Heights game. Okay, some of those people, maybe they're 12. Okay, maybe they're 12, and I'm gonna be putting them on the front lines of some war of like to fight monsters? No. Oh, I'm a 12-year-old and my special ability is I can make flowers appear. Okay. Why are you on the front lines? You can make flowers. What are you doing on the front lines of a war? What's happening? Where are your parents? Child, where are your parents? What is that kid's name? Let me try to think if I could think up that kid's name. Like, literally, there's a kid that I just ran into. It's like part of some secret organization that's there to save the world or whatever, but also a lot of them are just assholes. I don't understand it. But, like, this kid, we meet her in the plot, and she's, look, you know what? We're taking a short break because I have to show you the madness that is going on with this fucking game. Okay, it's not just this game. This is not a this game problem. This is a thing with anime games, okay? This is a thing that there's a problem with in anime games. Is first of all, child soldiers are a huge problem, but also, like, you know, hey, I'm 12 and my superpower is I can make flowers. Why am I fighting the ninja? Why are you sending this child to fight a ninja? It doesn't make sense. Where's my controller cable? Give me my controller cable. Oh, the thing can't pick up the game. That's fine. It's actually probably optimal because it means that we're not showing anything too important right now. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Because I'm just playing through the main plot, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this? This is not going to take long, by the way. Okay. So, login status is 0. Great. I love that for me. So, can we add as a source this window? Do I have to run the game? I probably have to run this shit as heights. Add source. It's not going to pick it up properly. Don't love that for me. Why did it pick up the stuff in front of this? This is crazy. Okay, we delete this because this is not something that you need to see. It pulled up my entire Steam library because I'm trying to pick up a different window? What the fuck is happening? This has to be their anti-cheat stuff, right? This has to be because of their anti-cheat. That's got to be what's going on, is their anti-cheat is doing weird shit. Okay, I might not be able to show you the flower girl. I'll figure out what her name is, and then I will put a link in chat, just so you can see how fucking crazy this is. Okay? Because her thing is that she's a flower girl, okay? And I understand that was also Aerith's thing, but Aerith was not this kind of flower girl. First of all, Aerith was like 20. Second of all, Aerith was not being conscripted by us to join Avalanche, okay? Spoiler alert. Aerith isn't conscripted to join Avalanche. We're conscripted to help her, okay? It's fine. What am I doing? I need to go to the gotcha thing. So give me a second to get to the gotcha thing. What is your name, child? Okay, we also have the other random child named Encore, who's also a child, but is not explicitly a flower creator with her, like, magic ability. Because, like, you know how in, like, all the anime, everybody has, like, one random special ability and that's all they can do? Because there's no cohesive magic system? Oh shit, she might not be on any of these. Okay, never mind. Resonators. I don't have her unlocked,
for everyone,
though.
as we head toward our shared future, leaving the past behind.
Sure thing, buddy. Let's see. That's Protag. Let's see. Where would I find her? I don't know if I can find her. Okay, wait. We're deep diving in this because we're gonna be making a lot of attempts on this thing. Okay, we're gonna be making a lot of attempts. This is gonna be kind of thing we need to be able to take the occasional tangent. Okay, what is this game called? Wuthering Heights. Okay. Verena. Okay, her name's Verena. Her thing is that she makes flowers. That's like her thing. I don't want to Google her name specifically because I don't want to be put on a list. Because people who Google her specifically probably should be put on a list, okay? I'm just saying. So, where... Also, is Google listening, or do people Google her really often? Because she's number 3 on the list of fictional characters from Wuthering Waves, and that's very concerning. Oh, right, Pridwin.gg is something that uses something. Let's see. What did I say her name was? Verena, yes. This Teacher's Day, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we don't have an actual just random like picture of her model in here, but look, I'm just telling you that this character Verena is a child soldier whose magic power that justifies her being a magic soldier is that she can make flowers, and she knows a lot about flowers. Okay? It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I don't get it. It's crazy. I don't remember how we even got on this. How did we get on the fact that we have this weird random child soldier who's good at flowers? How did we get on this? I don't actually know how we got on the subject of the children who make flowers and thus are soldiers. She doesn't make lethal flowers. I cannot be more clear. She doesn't make dangerous flowers. She just makes flowers, okay? I don't know how I can be more clear on this is not a person that you should be bringing into your military. And she's actually not a member of the secret organization now that I think about it. But she is a recruitable character, which means that she's a child soldier. The interaction that we've had with her in the plot so far has been her going, "Oh, huh, you need an interesting flower? Oh, go talk to this girl. She knows how to make interesting flowers." And you go talk to her, and she makes an interesting flower for you. And she's like, "Oh, here's what I understand about what these properties of this flower would be." Interesting character. Very, like, her whole deal is like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, it's cool, right? No problems there." Narratively, so far, there's been no problem with her. How am I recruiting her into my army? Like, because, like, you don't recruit her as a part of the plot, as far as I can tell. Maybe you recruit her later. But, like, for now, it's just like, okay, this random flower girl that you meet who tells you about an interesting flower and its properties just gets recruited into your army. It's wild. Oh, man. Video games are wild sometimes, okay? Video games are wild sometimes. I do think that it's interesting. I don't... One of the things that's kind of funny is that when I was doing that, like, whole battle sequence, one of the things that really demonstrates how, like, incompatible I feel like having, like, a gacha game is with a narrative-driven action RPG. In Genshin Impact, does it do the thing where anytime you have to do, like, an actual mainline plot scenario, it just replaces your entire party with generic trial characters that are of the appropriate level for what they want you to have as difficulty for the content? Is that a thing they do in Genshin? Because I had this whole long sequence of battles that I was... Basically I was just not allowed to interact at all with any of the party members that I built up. So you build up a party. Typically the way that, like, an RPG works is you create a party over the course of the game that has, like, a build that's interesting, that does the different things, and then as you reach certain points in the game, that party will be challenged and have to run into... You'll be forced to deal with the fact that you have built the party that you have built, and what does that mean as you approach this portion of the plot? Because of the nature of the gacha system, I assume, instead of doing that, when I went into this plotline thing, it just, like, gave me a bunch of random level 60 characters, including a copy of my protagonist, that just had completely different abilities. Like, all the characters are characters that you unlock automatically for the most part. So like you have these characters that are the same characters that you have, they're just higher level, but also with different abilities equipped. So like I'm just like playing the game like, oh, okay, I'm just randomly using the same people, but they're different people with different stats and different abilities now because like because reasons, I guess. I don't know. Like I could understand, I would respect in AFK Arena if you want to push the plot, you have to go through the battles, and you don't get free characters to go through the battles. It asks you to do the battles, right? Like you have to go through the plot with your characters that you've built. Your little army that you've created has to tackle the difficult encounters that you approach throughout the game. And then like you have this entire sequence where all of the party building that you've been doing, all of the like, you know, all of the collecting of all of the like echoes and all the things, like, just don't matter. Let's see. Yeah, the character quests were very funny because when I got onto the character quests, the game would just give me like, okay, but you're like level 10 and you have like a level 1 weapon. You shouldn't be trying to do this. This is like a level 50 dungeon. And I'm like, fuck you. But then they give me a character who's like level 70. So it's like, okay. It is very funny. Like, the other day I mentioned, like, I don't know what they're talking about when they say that this content is too hard for you. Like that you should, like, this is an unreasonable difficulty. Don't try this. Or like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, I'm level 1 and all the enemies are level 15, and I haven't noticed a difference between the level 1 and the level 15 enemies. So like, is this just like them trying to stroke my ego, or what's going on here? And it seems to me that like the expected difficulty of the game is 0. Like the difficulty that it's balanced for is 0, because anytime they give me a party member, that party member can solo everything so quickly. Like, it's like, oh wow, like this level 45 dungeon, you know, I'm clearing way faster than I clear the level 10s that I was fighting just now. Because I didn't invest in my weapons or anything. But also just generically, I actually am kind of curious, because I maxed out my protagonist for the like portion of the game that I'm at right now. Not the portion of the game, for the like arbitrary, you know, ascension level that I have access to or whatever at this point, right? And so the protagonist is currently maxed out with like a garbage weapon, but it's like a maxed out garbage weapon, right? I looked at like a YouTube video that was talking about the relative costs of things and decided that getting this weapon up to level 40 it was meaningfully costless. It just doesn't cost anything in the grand scheme of things. It would take like seconds to counteract that. And so anyway, so I've been very amused by all of like the quests that they give me where I'm supposed to do anything, because like you just do so much damage and the enemies just don't. But I also have noticed that whenever they're giving me like a preset party, which they gave me a full preset party for like 45 minutes, there's this incredibly long quest line. And I think that the reason they give you a preset party for the whole thing is because of the fact that like they just don't have a proper save system for it. So it's like this long ass scenario where you just have to go through 45 minutes of this scenario in order to unlock the next portion of the plot, which legitimately would have been cool if not for the myriad mistakes that they made during it. They made a lot of, like, narrative storytelling errors. Like when I was talking about like the cannon that you can shoot 6 times that is just like breaking random doors down for you after it's been hyped up as a thing that could destroy the entire city. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Why would you hype this thing up as a thing that like it's ooh, if this misses, I'll accept the consequences of it missing. It's like, what do you mean if it misses? It can't miss. It's a fucking barrier, and this thing doesn't have enough turn radius to possibly shoot anywhere that isn't that barrier. It's a motionless barrier. What are you talking about? Anyway, the whole thing with the disruptor cannon was terrible, but like, and then there was just a lot of like gibberish. They also have like 2 separate characters now who fall into the trope that Bleach falls into. I think it's Bleach. Is Bleach the one that falls into the trope where the protagonist is extremely weak and pathetic until he needs to be strong, and then he just like arbitrarily becomes strong enough to deal with whatever it is that he's dealing with? It's a lot of anime, to be fair. But like that as a trope is incredibly dull. And we now have 2 characters that are doing that shit, where it's like, oh, well, I don't understand how my magic ability that makes me a god works. Okay, it would be OP if I could just use this whenever I want. We couldn't just, like, make this a thing that requires actual skill and utility to make. No. We gotta make this... Anyway, it's a whole thing. But we now got 2 of those. Made a lot of mistakes that make me feel like, I don't know about this. That paired with like in order to get map completion, they want me to kill like things that I'm not going to kill, makes me feel like I don't know. I'm going to check something quick. Okay, so there's nothing on here that matters other than the list of games that I've played recently, which is mostly just interesting lore if you care, but is not relevant. Knowing what my name is does not help with anything. And knowing that I've played apparently 21 hours of that game. See. Anyway, so I get why they did it, and I think that there's a narrative reason why, like, it's kind of, like, appropriate. I also think that one of the issues that these games has is that they do the things that, like, normal games do, but because of the monetization system, they just don't work as well. Like, guest characters make a lot more sense in an RPG where the guest character can have like a cohesive like thing, and where like you don't necessarily already have the guest character just hanging out with you because you randomly pulled them like 15 hours ago and you have no idea who they are, but they're in your party for some reason. One thing that I think is a huge... Does Genshin Impact interact with the fact that you are summoning random people from the ether who you've never met before, and you're just fighting alongside people? Like, are they like copies of people that you're fighting with? Like, does it interact with the fact that these people are obviously not there, but they're fighting? You're fighting alongside people who are obviously, clearly, like in universe, don't exist in this space. Like, are they summons? Because, like, in this game, it has all sorts of weird magic shit going on. The protagonist has a bunch of weird shit going on with them. None of the weird shit that's going on with the protagonist is the fact that they can summon ghosts of everyone that they've ever met, including a bunch of people they've never met, to join them in fighting enemies. That's not a thing that's mentioned as one of their powers. So it's like, why do I have this random, like, pink-haired, person in my party? I don't actually have a pink-haired person in my party, but why do I have all these random people that I got pulls on when I pulled for a weapon the other day, right? Like, I didn't get the weapon that I wanted. But I did get a bunch of random characters that I haven't looked at yet. Like, why can I do this? Engage me. Engage with the monetization system in a way that's like, yes, your character has the ability to not just create the echoes of monsters, but to engage with the echoes of people. Boom! I just solved your fucking narrative. I just solved your narrative problem. Why can't the protagonist of Wuthering Waves summon the echoes of people as their whole deal? That's what makes them special. That's why at the beginning of the game, everyone knows that there's something weird about this person, is that the second that you touch that random doctor, you now have the ability to summon an echo of them who now fights alongside you, completely separate from your body. Or that you can transform into that, whatever, it doesn't matter. But, like, the echoed system gives you an excuse, narratively, to explain the way that your protagonist works and separates them from the world in a way that is meaningful instead of just ambiguous bullshit, right? They have some prophecy, some shit. People talk about your main character like they're really special or whatever. They haven't done anything. Huge portion of the game that people are like all like in awe of this character, you've done nothing. There's nothing that you've done. There's just a prophecy. If you were literally creating clones of your party members at the start of the game, who were then leveling independently of the actual person, and who you got like, and it basically like flipped between you bringing the clone, when you bring the clone out on expeditions, the person who's like who's just hanging out in town on a guard duty shift, just doing their job, feels themselves getting inexplicably more powerful as if they spent the entire time training. And so the echo of them that you have created is simultaneously empowering the actual person. And there's like a connectivity there. There's so much cool lore you could do, and they ignore it. It's narratively, the protagonist isn't doing the thing that is the entire premise of a gacha game. It's all just left on the table. Did you seriously walk behind? You son of a bitch. Like, come on. People need to hire me to write their video games for them. You know what? That's not true. People need to write me to come in as a writing consultant and ask the obvious question of why doesn't the protagonist have the ability to generate echoes of their party members in this plot? Given that that's the entire mechanism. If there was any connection between the actual plot, the plot of the game, and the banner system, I might understand the banner system. Like, I might understand, like, why someone would pay for these banners. Like it would be comprehensible to me that, like, oh, okay, yes, because there's a reason to engage with this shit, right? There's a narrative reason. Like, it makes sense, right? This is a cohesive whole, as opposed to just a thing that's tacked on top. Like, I'm telling you how to narratively integrate your incredibly exploitative and evil business model into your core, like, plot. But look, how long did it take me to figure that shit out, okay? It's like, I'm just complaining about it for 10 seconds and I come up with exactly how you solve that problem, right? Like, it's not a hard problem to solve. People should hire me as a narrative advisor. They probably shouldn't. They probably should. I'm a cheap date. Give me $10 and you'll get like 17 emails out of me giving you a bunch of usable material and a bunch of bullshit you don't want to deal with. But hey, it's cheap. Anyway, point being, see, now I've gotten myself excited for a narrative that doesn't exist, which is very depressing. This always happens to me. Right? Like, this is the thing that happens to me, is that sometimes I get excited about a game that doesn't exist, and it's very sad because it's like, well, there's a game that does exist. It just didn't do any of the cool shit that you could have obviously done. Does anybody do that? There wasn't. Does Genshin do that? In Genshin, is there a narrative explanation for the banner system? Like in the game, is the protagonist able to like summon the ghosts of everyone they've met in their life, and maybe some people they've never met because they don't realize that they've met them? Is that a thing in Genshin, or is it just in Genshin we just ignore the fact that you have the ability to summon all of these people, and like narratively they just don't exist? Because they do the same thing in AFK Journey, where they just kind of like ignore the fact that you're just summoning people, right? You have this character who has this like legendary magic and shit, but not one of the legendary magic shit things that you have is not the ability to just summon like the images of everyone who has come before or whatever. And it's crazy that nobody does anything with it. That's so sad. That's so sad. Now I want to write a gacha game, and that's a problem because I have an ideological. I don't want a gacha game to exist, but also I need to write one. Because it's such a gimme. It's such a gimme, right? Like, it's the most interesting thing that we have about the protagonist. The most interesting component of the protagonist is the fact that they have these ghosts. And just like thinking about, like, I thought it was kind of cool and narratively interesting in this game that I was just playing that these people have jobs and shit. Like, they have their own lives, right? Like, one of the people that you're talking to is like a town patroller, and she just goes off and does work shifts, and she's just like, okay, well, I'll be gone for the next 5 hours of plot because I'm doing my job. Right? And like, I think that it would be super interesting to, because like one of the games that I played recently that I thought was like very like had kind of like a silly plot, but had like a plot justification that was kind of, you know, a little bit fun, was shit, what's that game called? I don't have it installed anymore, I don't think. But it was one of the idle games that I had, and like the dynamic of the plot was basically like the protagonist could basically do shadow clone jutsu from Naruto, which admittedly I don't actually know anything about shadow clone jutsu, but basically the person could make tangible clones of themselves that were way weaker than themselves, but could make clones of themselves. But also, whenever the clones were uncreated, either by being destroyed or just her uncreating them, they would, all of the memories that they had acquired, all of the experience that they had would be brought into her. So she basically was a hive mind, but not like a direct hive mind. She only got their experiences after they dissipated, I think. So like, she has all of this knowledge and memory, so she can get like training done, right? You now know everything. Exactly. So, she could get training done by just having her clones fight each other, right? Like, she didn't have to do anything. She could just have her clones fight each other. And that was like a whole silly thing, and it works for like an idle game because of the dynamics of idle games. It's like it's a plot that works for that. But like, on a broader level, like, that dynamic works really well for like a gacha game. To have like, okay, you have these people and you meet them throughout the plot, and you know, some of them you have the ability to clone, and maybe this is the one time where that arbitrary power bullshit that I was talking about before makes perfect sense. Because like before I was talking about how like, oh, you know, I hate when like the characters just arbitrarily gain the power to do whatever at random. But like the idea that your protagonist randomly clones people in their general vicinity, and it's just kind of like, okay, there's a couple of them that happen throughout the plot, but other than that, the protagonist has no idea how it happens or why it happens. They just randomly clone people. It's like, okay, well, I've got this person I've never met, and I just have a clone of them, and I'm fighting with them. But when that clone fights, the person that is attached to that clone is also empowered, and also like is as if they're training themselves, right? That some of the consequences of them being in combat carry over to the original. That would be a very fun way to handle it, because by having it be just, I have no idea how this power works, it's narratively sort of like lampshading the fact that in a gacha game you just have no idea what characters you're going to get. You don't know who's going to be in your party. You can't really control for who's in your party. You just know, you have all these random people that you've never met just like showing up. It's like, oh, here's a random person, here's a random person, here's a random person, and they're just like popping out of your body. I think that's a very fun dynamic. I think that you could do a lot with that, right? Where it's like the clones aren't actually like sapient, like the clones are under your control, but they benefit the person that you are cloning, right? It's like they're getting the benefits of the training of it. So it's like there isn't like a downside. They don't get like the pain or whatever, because then you end up in weird like consent issues. I mean, to be fair, you end up with weird consent issues anyway, right? You end up with weird consent issues no matter how you handle this power. But it would be fun. So you could just like, as long as you don't do anything weird with it, right? As long as you don't do anything weird with it narratively, it doesn't have to be weird. Just don't worry about it. I don't know. That sounds like a great idea to me. Nobody's going to make that game, are they? They're just going to make some generic anime game. They're going to have some annoying pixie mascot character that is just inexplicably aggressive toward you, or is like telling you to start the Fourth Reich. Yeah, no shot. I'm not going to make that. That would involve making a gacha game. I'm not making a gacha game. There's no shot. There's no shot that I would make a gacha game. No shot. Also, no shot I would ever finish a project. Are you kidding me? I haven't finished a project since I was like 23. You kidding me? Me finish a creative project? I still haven't gotten the itemization tutorial done, because I'm lazy, but also because I just don't have the items in my inventory that I want to be able to work with. I am not gonna lie, I don't actually know how I'm gonna handle this problem. This situation is actually a situation that I am thinking about in the back of my head and realizing it's been a long time. I mean, that could be fun. That could be fun. If you were going to make a fake gacha game, you could actually, you know what you could do? You know what could be fun? Is to make a game. Ooh, you could have it on multiple levels. Okay, so let's say you have a meta-narrative aspect to it, right? So what if the person playing the gacha game isn't you? You're not playing the gacha game. The gacha game is a layer in between you and the main plot. So the main protagonist and the main plot is over here doing their thing. And then in between, you have some gods doing some weird gacha game bullshit, right? And then above that level, you have yourself. So the gacha game system, you emulate all of the systems that are in the gacha game to some degree. You don't need to emulate the systems directly, but you have like a gacha game system built into the game where the gods are spending their money on the gacha game resources, right? Like the in-game characters are doing so. But mechanically for you, what is represented by that is what you would get out of a free-to-play system, where you are just you have the resources you have, and you spend them strategically in order to get what you want, right? You could do that. That is a thing that you could do. To emulate basically like the free-to-play aspect of a gacha game, and then narratively have it not be free-to-play, and canonically the characters are not treating it as free-to-play, but basically what's happening is instead of getting like a promotion, where it's like, okay, because there's like a lot of gacha games have a lot of freebies where like input this code and you'll get this thing for free. Instead of having promotions, you flavor that shit as if the god just got a second job and spent a bunch of money, like on the game and like bankrupted themselves, but they got, you know, like this, they got this, you know, 20 pulls or whatever, right? And it's like, it's calling attention. Like, I think that you could do something fun with that. The issue is that I wouldn't want that to be the primary game. So I would almost want that to be like a tongue-in-cheek thing that's vaguely referenced, but like the primary game is about a person who has no fucking idea where their powers are coming from. Just like going, okay, man, this random friend of mine is... I can make a clone of them. Oh, man, I hate how much I like this idea. I like this idea way too much. This is way too fun an idea. It's actually way too fun an idea. But I don't have any of the skill set necessary to make any of this a reality, okay? This is so far outside of my wheelhouse. I could never make an action game. I could never make a visually, like, presentable game. Like, it's just this is outside my wheelhouse. I could never be involved in this project in any meaningful way. But, like, I mean, that's not true. I could be the writer for a project like this. I'm not saying that I couldn't be involved in any way. I'm just saying I don't have any of the skill sets, and I don't know anybody who has the skill sets necessary to make this project happen, who would bow to my whims on the stupid bullshit of how these mechanics are supposed to tie together. Like, look... I'm just saying that someone should make that game, actually. Someone should actually make that game, but they wouldn't. They couldn't. God. Especially if you made that as a tactics game. Imagine the tone of Disgaea. And Disgaea is perfect for this, because Disgaea... We've already established that silly tone works really well for these incredibly stupid and like exponential leveling systems, because Disgaea has those, right? So like you have this incredibly stupid exponential leveling system, and you have a silly narrative but have it be a tactics game. I think you could do a lot with that. If you made an ogre battle style game, right? And I do think ogre battle style. I don't think tactics ogre style. But if you made an ogre battle style game where you have like auto battles based off of the characters that you have developed and assembled into teams and stuff like that. If you did that genre, I think works well for gacha games. I say this knowing that that's the case because I think that AFK Arena did an excellent job with it, and it intuitively works with the genre. Like, it just makes perfect sense. This is like a very clear cut. Sure, this all checks out. And so, if you made it into a like squad based auto battler akin to Ogre Battle, or akin to Ogre Battle 64. I think the original Ogre Battle is more akin to Tactics Ogre, but I could be wrong. But like, if you do an Ogre Battle 64 style squad thing, you could do that. That would work really well, I think. I think we reload test. I think I'm going to try to do the temple first. Because the temple is actually going to take less time to clear, I think. I'm less likely to die of exhaustion in the temple. We're gonna make some attempts at this temple because I am not in the headspace that I can think too deeply on what I'm doing, and I need to make some fundamental changes to my strategy. I think because that looked like it might work, but we've now done a ton of attempts, and it might work eventually. But I got really lucky on one of those early attempts, getting everything but one of them. And the likelihood that we're going to get literally all of them seems pretty low. Like it's just going to take too long to bother with. So, oh, whoops, I missed the thing. Let's see here. But yeah, I don't know. I could see working on a project like that. The issue really fundamentally is that, like, I mean, actually, that's not true. I do have people who work in game development who are friends of mine. I don't know that I would want to work on a project like this with them, and they definitely wouldn't work on a project like this because they're like an actual professional. They're like an actual professional. I would not subject them to doing any sort of project with me. But, yeah. I don't know. I think there's space in this world for the only good gacha game. Because, like, there have been games that are, like, parodies of the genre that I don't think do a very good job of actually parodying genres. Like, there's like a box simulator thing, I think, where you just unbox boxes, which I don't think does a great job as a parody. It kind of just does the thing, right? It's just like a game about unboxing. It just like kind of is unironically the thing it's describing, without like really addressing the problems with it in a like mechanically, right? Whereas like I do think if you create a fake gacha game, you can mimic the aspects of a free-to-play gacha experience, which is a different experience than an actual whaling experience, right? The experience of being a whale is very different than the experience of being free-to-play. And I don't think that there's anything intrinsically damaging about a free-to-play gacha experience, right? I think that that's normal and fine. So you can parody the whaling elements while not just simulating them, right? Like, while not just unironically just simulating the thing that you're meaning to critique. Like, I think that there's elements there that I think would work really well. It would also be very funny for a fake gacha game to be the only gacha game that acknowledges the gacha mechanics as a component of the narrative. But I am wondering... I'm wondering if you even want that meta-narrative at all. I'm wondering if the meta-narrative should be background that is implied but is never made explicit. You never interact with the character that is giving this weird magic shit to the protagonist. You never see that character. They're doing something behind the scenes, but whatever's going on with those gods, and they're described in game as gods. You got to describe them as gods. Everybody's got to have their own little pet gods, right? That's just a thing that's got to happen in every RPG. Okay. You've got these gods behind the scenes that are doing something. Like the protagonist is clearly like one of the chosen, right? You've got this chosen one thing going on, but it's like also maybe there's like a bunch of different type people who are also chosen. You've got it because if you look at like the non-PvP versions of this, I think it's less interesting. I think it's less interesting. But if you go with the PvP element, you can also make a parody that is kind of, I think you can do some fun stuff with, okay, your character runs into a person who's clearly wailing a bit harder than your god has been wailing, and then in response to that, the protagonist gets massively stronger because the whale god. Oh god, the god has to be whale coded in some way, right? Anyway, it's like the turtle in everything from Stephen King, only it's a whale. Anyway, so the whale god basically responds to it by investing a bunch of money. And so the reason that the protagonist periodically has these narratively convenient moments where they get super OP is because a bunch of money just got spent on consumables. Look, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of things that you can do with this. There's a lot of room to make a lot of commentary on a lot of different things. Both from a perspective of love and hate, okay? There's a lot you can do with this shit. But yeah, I don't know that I need to write any of this down. No, look, none of this stuff is gold tier material, okay? This is just shit that I'm pulling out of my ass on a whim. The thing that's important about this kind of stuff, the thing that's really important about this, coming up with an idea for a fun setting, coming up with an idea for a fun mechanic, coming up with an idea for a fun whatever, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Any random people that you just put in a room together are going to come up with some ideas that are, at least to them, bangers, right? That they're going to come up with some top tier ideas, right? But ideas are cheap, man. Ideas are cheap. It's like ideas, you have an infinite number of them, and you can get ideas even when you're high, okay? Ideas are very easy to come by. Okay, I understand now. I understand. There's a wall. There's a wall that blocks you from going straight into the tunnel. You have to actually jump adjacent to the tunnel. There we go. Look, I understand now. It's not even true. The tunnel just is not where I thought it was. So, if I write this down, I'm not going to be able to find my notes again. But if you ask me about this again in the future, I will spontaneously come up with the same bullshit responses that I just came up with, right? Even if I don't remember that I came up with them 5 years ago, it's intuitive, right? It's intuitively obvious to do this, right? This is the easy part. This is the easy part that you can just do. And I don't know, maybe anyone can't do this, okay? Maybe there's plenty of people who can't. But the thing that separates successful creative people, and by successful I don't mean financial, I mean people who make things, from people who, talk shit online, like me. The thing that separates them is not whether you have interesting ideas. The thing that separates them is whether they actually are willing to put in the immense amount of effort that it takes, the effort and time it takes to take something from being, a scribbled down and or whatever idea into reality. The idea of an ideas man, the ideas man in your group is a lazy piece of shit. Okay? Just 100% of the time. People who are creative need to put in the actual work in order to make their work happen, right? In order to make the thing, you need to make it. You need to take it in your hands and create it. And, if someone takes the ideas that I have spouted here and decided to make something out of these ideas, man, that I have no ownership of that. Like this is like really basic analysis and like critique of a genre that's extremely popular, that is known all over the world, and the critiques that I have of the genre are also well known and established throughout the world. The fact that the narratives ignore the entire mechanics of the game is something that, okay, sure, some people might not think that's funny, but like the fact that the entire game system is non-diegetic, and it's weird that it's non-diegetic, as in like all the systems in the game itself don't exist in the game's universe, right? That is weird. It's not that weird, but it's like it's a little weird, right? So, like, the reason I say it's not that weird is that, like, MP isn't a thing in a lot of settings, right? It's just sort of like, and HB and things like that are not a thing in universe. But the Vancian spell system, for example, and from D&D, that is diegetic. A spellcaster does need to memorize these spells. A spellcaster does have a specific finite number of memorizations of each spell that they can cast. They do have these very specific rigid rules in universe. It's not just like faffing around. Them's the rules in universe, because that's what the gods have created to basically control magic and its usage. They've shaped it in this very specific and weird and esoteric way, right? So the idea that diegetic game mechanics are fun and interesting is not unique. It's very intuitive, even though a lot of people don't bother. Someone who's making a high effort game, who's like actually putting a lot of effort into the plot, and the writing that they're doing, which I would not say applies to Wuthering Waves. It's way too formulaic. It's way too generic for that. But like a person who's actually putting a lot of thought into things is going to think about, hey, is there a way that we can draw in this aspect canonically? And I to a large degree, I would say, like, there's a lot of stuff that's like high effort about AFK Arena. The plot is not one of those mechanics. The plot is not a thing that's high effort in the AFK Arena, AFK Journey, whichever AFK game you want to call it. Whichever one, doesn't matter. The plot is not high effort. The plot is fairly lazy. Yeah, AFK Arena has a plot. I don't remember the details of it, but it has to do with a bunch of random bullshit. You periodically get like bits and pieces of the plot over time. AFK Arena mostly has whatchamacallits. It mostly has a setting. So AFK Arena has lore more than it has a plot. But I think it does have a plot. I think there's some reason that you're wandering around. But with that being said, I actually can't remember anything about a plot outside of the, like, outside of the literal tutorial. So maybe AFK Arena doesn't actually have a plot. But AFK Journey definitely has a plot that is, like, not well thought out. So if AFK Arena literally doesn't have a plot, which is possible, I mean, that checks out, right? In keeping, what's less effort than no effort, right? I just pulled more than one. What was I saying? But anyway, so I don't think that any of the shit that I'm saying is particularly unique. I'm sure that 100 people have had this idea. There's probably like a few people that have already implemented on this, right? In some way, shape, or form. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there was already a game that like that integrated the gacha mechanics into the game in a fun way. I don't know how many people are going to make a fake gacha game. I actually don't know how many people would be interested in that, because I do think that, like, I got into gacha games with AFK Arena. That's the first gacha game that I ever played. And the thing about AFK Arena is that there are elements of poker to it. There's an element of deck building that, like, you know, you have, like, poker might not even, but there's a deck building element to it where you can't control how your deck is going to go completely, but you can control somewhat how your deck is going to go, right? And like, the usage of resources. The reason I mentioned poker is because in poker you have a limited number of chips, and you have to figure out how you're going to utilize those chips, right? The game of poker is not the hand that you have in front of you. The game of poker is the chips that you have in front of you. The hand that you've got is actually fairly simple. You're literally not allowed in most places to play poker, the hand game, well, because they consider card counting to be cheating. And card counting is just playing poker well, right? If you're not card counting, you're not playing a card game well. I'm sorry to tell you, you're playing in a low tier meta if you're not card counting. It's just playing the game well. So, and obviously casinos don't want people playing poker well, because if they're playing poker well, they'll win. Because training a dealer how to play well is not something they're going to be doing. Especially because the goal isn't for the dealer to be playing well. The goal is for the dealer to be playing consistently, I believe. I believe dealers are trained to basically treat poker like automata. I think this is true for, like, all of the games, where the goal is kind of to remove the dealer as a player, even if the dealer is a player technically. Like with blackjack, I believe there are specific rules about how the dealer has to hit and has to stay and things like that are predictable, right? So, like, the game of poker, it's kind of like playing against the game of, like, blackjack. I think you kind of have an NPC in the dealer. That's my understanding, is that the dealer isn't really playing in the classic sense. The dealer is following a specific formula that you know and can predict in advance, right? But the issue with that is that you can beat that formula if you know how many cards are in the deck and you utilize the probability of the cards coming up appropriately. You can win at blackjack. You just have to play it well, right? So because you can play blackjack and win, they have to make rules that make it so that you can't actually win, right? Which means they make rules that mean that you have to play blackjack badly. Please? Okay. So, do I want to actually make a save here? I wonder if I do. If I go forward, I don't think there's much reason to. There's no real RNG in that setup. This is an issue. I don't know how we're going to do this, because they're going to just Dragon Breath me around the corner. See? That was Spirit Lash. That was Spirit Lash, I think. Wait, why is their Spirit Lash so long range? I don't think my Spirit Lash would have hit that thing. I don't think I was close enough that my Spirit Lash would hit them.
Let's go in.
Anyway, so I don't know. I could see a world where because of the fact that I came in through AFK Arena, which has a specific interaction with the gacha mechanics, that would lead to sort of like a unique way of looking at the gacha mechanics. But I don't really think so. I don't think that it's a particularly unusual way of looking at the systems. I'm very normal. Like, famously, I play video games very normally and have very normal ideas about all things. So, it seems very reasonable to assume that. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Look. The thing about being yourself is that no one else can be you. And so, since no one else can be you, no one else has, like, the things that... There's no way to know the difference between the things... Yeah, I do regularly, and well, okay, I don't know if that's actually even true. Actually. I certainly don't stream consistently, though I've been streaming more consistently these days. And I actually do often take breaks where I'm just not playing any video games off stream for long periods of time. Like I'll go weeks and basically play no video games off stream. It's not super common these days. Right now I'm in my balanced arc where I'm like doing a lot of different things. Like I just finished a new book yesterday. It took me 2 days to read it.
Let's go.
So like I've done a lot of reading in the last 2 days, but I've also been playing like the Wuthering Waves game. You know, doing my Wuthering Heights arc. I don't actually know. Okay, I think I'm gonna kill you, and I'm just gonna run by, and I'm gonna see. Do I have an interesting setup that I can do here? Anything I can do here? That is a bunch of spiders, so probably not there. No. I'm gonna check the other side. I'm gonna putter over there. I think that what we're probably gonna need to do is we're probably gonna need to find an angle that... Okay, so we've got Cardinal there. This is... Okay, so they're in front of this door. Let's see. I guess I could see a world where that room is useful to me. Like, that room might be useful. Let's try to do this. But yeah, the... Oh, but anyway, because you are yourself, it can be very easy to go, oh, well, that's a thing that's just very intuitive. And I'm sure that lots of people would agree with that. And it's entirely possible that some of the things that you think are very obvious, if you got a group of 15 people together in a room and had them discuss the issue for 4 hours, none of them would come up with that particular issue, that particular solution to the problem. Because you are, in fact, a unique person, and you do, in fact, have unique ideas that, you know, only you would come up with in a timely manner. And the issue is that the things that you come up with immediately, and just come as obvious solutions to you, hey, Malkuth, are indistinguishable to you from the things that are just, like, nobody else would ever come up with them other than you. Like, the things that are just like, okay, yeah, this is, like, pretty basic. Give yourself 5 minutes and you'll figure it out. Versus difficulty level impossible challenge for anybody else. Not anybody else, but for most other people. It's just, like, internally, you just don't have any way of identifying that. M-Praid? Oh, multiplayer raid, yes. Hey, Hawk Arter Free Day. How'd the multiplayer session go?
Ow. Yes. Naturally. That seems appropriate for Cattle's whole deal. Look, the one thing I know about Cattle's is that they're finding all the loot. That's their most famous characteristic. Oh, that seems legit. Everything's either fine or you're dead. I like it. I relate quite strongly to that. as someone who just finished clearing the Titan stronghold, you know, like, I feel you. I feel you. Don't tell him, chat. Don't tell him. Don't say shit. I did not clear the Titan stronghold. I did not. I just left. I just reloaded to outside. I have an angle for how I want to approach it, and this is. Oh, we're not finished yet. Look. So I'm going to basically explain the dynamic of what we're doing here. So actually, I could just reload the actual save that we have. Let's reload this one. So we basically have cleared out all of this shit, right? So we've cleared our way to this point. The problem is that the electric projectiles are completely undodgeable as far as I can tell, so you can't dodge any attacks from Titans. And there's a whole pack of these sitting here. And the issue is that I'm running out of saves. So we've managed to kill the dragons, which allows us to make use of the center room there. And the problem is that I need to be able to get there with one more save. What I was trying to do was use this to clear out the 4 Titans that are on me. And I spent about like 30 or 40 minutes on that, and I just wasn't getting the RNG that I needed. I managed to get like all but one of them locked in twice or 3 times. But yeah, but we need to get into this room. Very easy with Invis. Without Invis, we have to clear a lot to get there. So yeah. So that's what we've been working on at the start of this stream. And I was puttering around in the temple as well. But mostly we've just been talking about like gacha systems and inventing a video game and things like that. So I was complaining about the fact that like in gacha games, the gacha system is not a actual thing in the game. So like you'll have all these party members, and there's no explanation in-game for why it is that the protagonist has all these party members, even though the protagonist is usually a god. Like, there's some sort of god who's got super secret magic abilities that nobody else has. But the super secret magic abilities that they have is never the ability to create shadow clones of anybody that they meet, or random people in the universe that has interesting and consequential effects on the world around them. Even though that's the entire principle of a gacha game. None of them engage with it at all. So you just have people in your party and it's like, well, who is this asshole? And it's like, okay, well, I've never met them. I don't know anything about them. And the game is never going to acknowledge that they're in my party. So, which is really sad. Like, the number of times in AFK Journey that someone has acted like as the protagonist am fighting people, and it's like, man, I'm not in the combat system. I'm not there. It's always a bunch of other people, right? It's a squad-based tactical game, right? And one of the units isn't you. You're not one of the units. So like, there's all these situations where people will act like I've just solo killed some group of people, and it's like, man, I wasn't even involved. I'm just straight chilling over here. Let's see. Nice. Well, you know, I will say, the Vamp is a good target for all that loot. Like, as carries go. Though I guess kind of everyone in the party is pretty much a carry. But that sounds like fun. Nah, Minotaur leans too much into the Ooga Booga... the melee Ooga Booga trope. What is this? They didn't say Ooga Booga, they said something similar. I don't remember. Back in the day. They should be a Minotaur, though, just because of the name. We are all Ooga Booga. I can edge to the left. It doesn't really make a huge difference. There's a lot of variance in the way that they handle corners, and you're basically looking for them to happen to stop at like a very specific... If I move too far to the left, I fall off. But you can see it doesn't really make much of a difference here. The specific positioning, I actually think that you're better off with more of yourself seeming to be exposed. That like with the current corner meta, I think you're better off taking corners in this way. If the enemy is like right here, and you're like here, and you can just barely see their body, they don't think they can hit you, so they activate the corner behavior and just walk to here and shoot you. Whereas I think that you're a little bit more likely to have it work here. Oh, actually, there's one corner that was working to some degree. Give me a second. I don't know if I can actually get there off of this save easily. But right here, I can't get there easily on the save. Right here, they behave really weirdly. Let's see. The naked, untanky Ooga Booga. It's Ooga Boogas all the way down. But yeah, I need to figure out what I'm going to do here. The issue is that, like, I have, like... Do I be honest here, or do I continue to Silk Post? I guess I continue to Silk Post. Okay, so I have until tomorrow to clear this entire dungeon and to get all the way to Deja, is the thing. So I have a very limited amount of time in order to clear. And I don't know that we're going to be able to... I don't know that we're going to be able to clear it before I run out of time, if I'm being honest. I think that there's going to be somebody just walking up behind me and shooting me to death. Yes. Okay, we're definitely dead. I'm going to check... Yeah, that one is still there. So... let's see. Who else is here? There's no one else here, so if we can get that one... So we need to kill about a half a dozen of these. So if this corner worked well... Well, the concept might be there and it might not be. It depends on how... Getting one enemy stuck in a corner... I can get that done on any corner in this map. Getting 5 enemies stuck in the corner, which is what we need, is a harder thing to have it happen. Okay, we've got 2 here. That one followed up behind, so now is the point where we die. Okay, I think I'm going to reload to Danger. So let's take a look at what we can do with this file. So this file, who did we kill between this file and the other file? Was it the dragon and just the dragon? Is it just the blue dragon? I think it's just this blue dragon, maybe? Okay, you are... Okay, you did not get stuck in the corner. Are you going to continue approaching? It looks like you're going to continue approaching. Okay, so that... But yeah, I need to figure out what the hell I'm going to do here. The issue... So the 2 issues that I have right now are pulling this pack. I don't have like a real strong idea of how I'm going to do it. And I don't have a real strong idea of how to do the other thing either. And the other thing, I think honestly the biggest issue is that right now I'm a little intellectually disengaged. If we're being honest, I think the biggest issue that I'm going to run into right now is the fact that instead of engaging with the problem in front of me, I am kind of just dicking around talking about making a video game about gachas. A game that emulates but is not a gacha game, where your protagonist is a protagonist in a gacha game with the mechanics that entails of just having the ability to clone random people that exist in the world that they may or may not have met before. That's very fun and exciting, and that's intellectually engaging me right now in a way that the Titan Stronghold is not. In part because I'm too busy thinking about Silksong. In part because of that. So that's the issue, is that I need to think about this, but also thinking hard when have other things to think about, you know? You know how it be, because I think that we need to clear to a room that's very difficult to get to right now. I'm seeing if I can get the dragon to just come to me. It'd be nice if I could get the dragon to come to here. I think that it's reasonable to get the dragon to come to here. We've gotten 2 dragons to come to here and actually killed them at various points. It's just that we had other things that also came here. This corner isn't really going to work for pulling like this whole pack, because I can get like 1 or 2 locked in here. I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing. So if I reload test, and we think about the number of pulls that we have available to us. If we had more resources, then this would not be super difficult. But with the amount of resources that we have, there's a lot of shenaniganry that goes into it. On that save, I didn't start killing until the last few saves. So we want... If we're being honest, I kind of do need to actually kill some of these, right? Like, some of those actually do need to die. I need to kill the dragons, and I don't think I can necessarily dedicate an entire save to each dragon that I kill. So I'm wondering if there's a way to... But if I don't kill the dragons first, it makes killing the titans a lot more troublesome. Because without killing the dragons... So the thing about the titans is that the titans do a very fun thing, where if I aggro the titans... Oh, but... the titans that don't exist. If I aggro the titans, they'll just walk across to here if I just walk away from them. So... like, the titans are very manageable in some ways. The issue is that they tend to just rotate around like assholes, and so there's always going to be some of them in a place that I don't want them to be, which just kind of sucks. If I stand here, are you now in a position where I'll be able to get you all? Or is there still one behind me? My guess is there's still one behind me. Lure them down the stairs and switcheroo. What do you mean by switcheroo? I cannot dodge a single projectile, so anything that keeps me in line of sight of them for any period of time without a wall to block is non-viable. So, like, if I have to run past them on the staircase, I'm dead. I can't survive moving past them on the staircase. Any time they use their default projectile, it will hit me. Let's see. Oh, but if you mean, like, can I just lure these like this and then get them to go to the other side? Weirdly, no. It seems to only work the one direction. So for some reason, they only go from the east side to the west side of this place. I don't really know why. They'll, like, come to here, and then they just stand around here and then go back to the west side of the thing. And then just dick around over there. I'm not really sure why. They might be going toward, like, the center of the map or something. I don't know what's going on with their behavior, but they've all disappeared again. Let's see. The other thing is that I could try just, like, grabbing these and just doing this a bunch of times. Right? Just grab them, go down here, wait for them to pass, do it again, do it again, do it again, and then save right before entering that final room. Which maybe would work. I guess we'll find out. I guess I'll put it on double speed since we're just waiting for somebody to walk by me. And they might not do it, but usually at least one will walk by me when that happens. But not this time, for some reason. Yes, that's the idea. The reason that I'm still working with this dungeon at all and not sort of giving up is the fact that all I need, in theory, is to get to that room. So if I get to that room, I think we can make that work with maybe 2 or 3 saves and get to 65% off of just 2 or 3 saves. Once we get that clear, once we get that done, I think we're golden. This room, I think, is going to open up the entire map. If that room doesn't open up the entire map, then we're wasting our time. We're never clearing the Titan Stronghold. There's just no way that we're going to do it if we can't clear the bulk of the map using just that one room. Or at least use that room to clear another room that lets us clear another room that lets us clear another room, right? Like, we need to have something like that going on. Because of the fact that we can't dodge any projectiles from the Titans. The Titans just cannot have their projectiles dodged. They can have the Mind Blast or whatever dodged, but they cannot have the Electric Blasts dodged. So, if and it can't miss, so an Electric Blast that comes out to me just automatically kills me. But yeah, this is a promising feature, but it doesn't do anything for me. They won't come close enough to get stuck on it. Well, that's convenient. It mind blasted the Axolotl. Or whatever that spell is, but it's either mind or body. Yeah, I thought it was Mind Blast, but I wasn't sure in 7. Yeah, I don't know what to do. We've cleared out the dungeon that we know we can clear. Let's see. If I had a bit... that explains it. That makes sense. I was like, it doesn't really have the thing I would expect from Mind Blast specifically, because Mind Blast is like an orange skull or something, right? Can I just get over here? This might be an easier way to handle this, honestly. than going the other way. Like, I don't know if it makes a difference whether I'm there or at the other place, and this might just be faster. But I don't know. I don't know, but I've been told. Let's see here. I don't know. But I mean, potentially. The thing is that what I really need is more down to the RNG of their pathing than it really is to killing them. I can't kill all of the dragons on one save, especially not because the green dragons are basically unkillable. I got really good luck just now and was able to kill a green dragon. Are you at some point going to kill me? Apparently not. Wait, what? Okay, well, that was really fun. I'm just like standing in a random spot. Imagine if I was able to. Okay. It wouldn't help because I need to do the druid quest. There's no way to get to master air here on this file without breaking the pathing rules. Because my druid needs the promotion for it, or my shaman needs the promotion. We don't have access to air mastery until we get to Tularia and then to Talia again. And I think we have to go all the way to Evanmorn Island, I think. So, unfortunately, this is not a similar arbitrarily invulnerable space. Okay. Let's see. I could stand on the edge of one of these. Yeah, and then coming back. So yeah, like there would be a lot of unnecessary travel involved in that. Oh, I'd have to come back to Avli and then go back to Tularia. Okay, so I wouldn't need to do... Yeah. Okay. Shoot me, you won't. Told you. Damn. He did. He got around to it eventually. Okay, let's see here. The staircase is, I think, mostly a dead end. God, I wish I had Invis. If I had Invis, we'd have been finished like within an hour. Yeah, the issue is because these projectiles can't be dodged. There's like a lot I could do if I could dodge the Titan projectiles, but since they're not dodgeable, or at least I don't think they are. They might be technically dodgeable, but I have not dodged a single one the entire time I've been here. Because of that, I mean the Mind Blasts are, but not the electric attacks. I haven't dodged a single electric attack the entire time I've been here. The electric projectiles are faster than the other projectiles are. I'm not sure if I believe you. Okay. Let's see here. But I don't think I've dodged a single projectile while I was here. Like, that is dodgeable. That's trivial. That's dodge. Easy. That's not. Right? Now, I have been missed by projectiles, but they didn't miss because I dodged them. They missed because they hit an invisible wall somewhere on the map. Like here, when I was just standing here, there have been a couple of times where I have tried to dodge, and a projectile didn't hit me, but it didn't hit me because it hit a wall in front of me that doesn't exist. Which is different. It had me fooled for a while, that I thought that I had dodged a couple of attacks, but I don't think I dodged any of them. I think that they just hit random obstacles that don't exist. Like here, there's like a random invisible wall here that's actually quite useful. It's not perfect, as you can see. Is that actually somebody from behind? It's not. I don't know who's hitting me or why, but yeah, because of... Yeah, man, if I could use range attacks, this would be very, very easy. Because you just from this corner, if I was doing the same amount of damage I'm doing in melee, I could kill them before they come around here. Like this thing, I could just blow up before just boop, 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 boop. Oh, look at you! You're going backward. Oh, imagine that. Oh, 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 the range style. Oh, like they're not even approaching me. Look how bullshit this is. I don't even have ranged attacks and this is OP. Why do I subject myself to melee saves? What is wrong with me? What is my major dysfunction? Okay, so what do I want to do here? I don't actually know. I'm just so lazy. I'm not particularly... I don't consider myself particularly masochistic, honestly. I only do things that I enjoy. Why is there a dog calling me from India? There's an Indian dog calling me? Okay. They stopped calling. I assume it was a wrong number. Because if it was a scam, I think that they would have let the call go through, right? Like somebody just butt dialed accidentally somehow. The reason I say it's a dog is because there was a picture of a dog as the person that it is coming up. So it's like, okay, there's some dog calling me from India. Look, I'll pick up if some Indian dog wants to call me, okay? I'll pick up for a dog. Though, to be fair, I will pick up for everyone. I get like scam calls all the time, and I always just pick up because I don't know that it's a scam call until I pick up the phone. It's also very funny because like the scam calls are like completely indistinguishable from calls from like actual institutions to a large degree. I'll get like a phone call from like a bank, and the bank's like, oh hey, is this who? Oh, hey, who is this? It's like, oh, hey, is this, insert name here? Great. Now tell me, the person who called you, tell me your bank account number to confirm that you are who you say you are. I'm like, you called me, motherfucker. You called me. Prove that you're the bank. It takes them by surprise. I've had multiple instances where I've like pulled up like where I've had an interaction with a bank where I'm like, man, you are not confirming your identity. It's like you get it's. I think that part of the reason that scams are as prevalent as they are is like people like blame people for not knowing that they're being scammed. Like a lot of people will like blame, especially like elderly people, for not knowing they're being scammed. But then, have you seen the actual safety measures and the way that like you interact with your bank? Your bank has no safety measures. They just like they'll ask you for a bunch of information to confirm that you are who you say you are, which is how you get scammed, is by someone calling you randomly and asking you for all this fucking information. That's how you get scammed. The bank doesn't prove they're the bank to you, which is like in order to have like a secure system, you have to have it secure where both parties can confirm that they're talking to the people that they think they're talking to. And it's very like it's fairly common for businesses to not identify themselves anymore, which I think is weird and bizarre, but also to just be like, you know, averse to the idea of like your security. Yeah, you need to have a two-way handshake, right? In some way, shape, or form. Right? Like, it's as simple as, I need to ask you a question. The question that I ask you is indicative in some way of who I am. Like, I wouldn't know to ask you this question if I wasn't your bank. Right? Which, I think that if you... I don't remember who, but I've seen some websites have a system where they have you set your own security question. You give the prompt and the answer to that prompt. You give both. You give both sides of that. That is an excellent two-way handshake. If you have that, when the bank asks you your security question, the fact that they asked your security question indicates that they are in fact your bank, or they have access to information that they might as well just have access to the answer to it as well. If they have the question, they probably have the answer, right? So like, that's a very good way to get that security confirmation in. And I've only ever seen it done once, I think. I've only ever seen it done once. And it was a website. It wasn't like a thing that's going to be... It wasn't someone who's calling you, right? It's not like that kind of a deal, right? So... Yeah, people don't take security seriously. Though, I guess it's... If I'm being honest, it's probably not going to matter. With the way things... Like, it's easy to think that, like, widespread, like, identity fraud is going to be, like, a huge issue in the future. And I just don't know. I feel like we're like, literally going to be living through... Is it the Great Leap Forward? Is that what it was called? The Great Leap Forward death toll. I love that that's what the autocomplete is. Yeah, Great Leap Forward. Like, America right now is going through its own Great Leap Forward, maybe. I'm worried for. This is something that I'm concerned about, but which I wouldn't say is happening. I'm just concerned about it. With what's going on with American trucking and American, like, the tariffs combined with the trucking things that they're doing, where they're basically firing all the truckers, like, I'm worried that the American infrastructure that's necessary to get food to the interior might just go down for a few months, and that a bunch of people might die. I'm worried that that might actually happen. Just because... You don't want to fuck with that kind of critical infrastructure. Like, that's bad. That's a bad thing to fuck with. And I feel like probably it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be fine, but I'm thinking probably we won't have like Great Leap Forward style, like, oops, someone at the top tinkered with something they shouldn't have, and, you know, you have a mass casualty event for no reason. Which is what the Great Leap Forward basically was a mass casualty event caused by just telling the farmers not to farm anymore, basically. Is the music slightly distorted? It sounds normal to me, but I'm hearing it from a different source than you are as well. Anyway, point being, if we have our own little Great Leap Forward, then a little bit of identity theft isn't going to matter. It's like just not really that relevant to the kinds of failures that we're going to run into it with our economy. It might be Twitch. Could be on your end, could be Twitch. I can head over to Twitch and see if I'm also getting it. Is it the audio from just the game? Let me see what you said. The music. Music would just be from the game. If I'm also getting it. Is it the audio from just the game? The music. Music would just be from the game. If I'm also getting it. I think it sounds normal to me. I think it sounds normal to me. It's obviously a different balance than it is on the game for me, because I have the audio settings different for the thing. But I think it's not. It doesn't sound distorted to me. Huh. Are you gonna just come to me and kill me? I think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what I want to do about this situation. What do I want to do? I'd like to get this done before Silksong comes out tomorrow. That would be the preference. But I'm just feeling so lazy. Am I feeling lazy? Or am I feeling frustrated? I feel like I'm feeling lazy. But that could just be cope. It could just be cope for the fact that I do not know what I'm going to do about this. I don't think that. I'm feeling intellectually lazy. I think that there are solutions to this that involve just like I think that I probably need to restart the seed, and I probably need to figure out better ways to manipulate the enemies with a fewer number of saves, and then just have the enemies get manipulated into the position that I need. I'm kind of like spending a lot of time dicking around trying to kill the enemies that I don't need to kill. And yes, Silksong is still coming out tomorrow, and I'm obviously telling the truth. Obviously, Silksong is actually coming out tomorrow. We have the release date. Why would I lie about the release date? Anyone could just look it up if I lied about it. So obviously it must be coming out tomorrow. So yeah, Silksong's definitely tomorrow. I'm wondering. The problem is that the same laziness applies to doing the temple. But what else would I do? I could... Ooh, I'm feeling intellectually lazy, so I could play Baba Is You, which is definitely the thing that I should do when I'm feeling lazy. That's what we should do. We should pivot to Baba Is You, and then everyone can make fun of me for being unable to finish simple puzzles, and that'll be great and excellent for everyone involved. How does that sound? I'm not doing Baba Is You. Not today. Nope, too lazy for that.
Let's see. I could do some Hollow Knight in preparation for Silk Song coming out, but I don't really feel like it. I've played so much Hollow Knight, I don't need to play more Hollow Knight. I've played enough Hollow Knight in my life. But yeah, I'm thinking, anyone have any suggestions for something that they want to see me putter around in for an hour to see if I can, like, get my mojo back in preparation for dealing with this? I might have to just come back to this part tomorrow, just because I'm just not feeling it right now. My mind is looking for any excuse to think about things that aren't Titans. And I'm just feeling so lazy. I could spend an hour and a half trying to drag these Titans that are on the left side to this spot and get them all killed and then save with all those Titans killed. And that would be productive, kind of, but I feel like that's it's going to take way longer than than I need to take on this, and it's not intrinsically interesting, which is fine, right? I can supply the entertainment just by talking about random bullshittery, but I can just shoot the shit. That's a thing I can do, but okay, has anyone in chat ever heard the expression shoot the shit before? I'm actually curious if that's an expression that literally anyone on Earth uses. Okay. I kind of figured. I don't even know. One of the things that's funny about having such a bizarre regional dialect is that I don't even know where I picked up shoot the shit. I could have picked it up in a movie. I know it's a colloquialism that refers to just chatting, right? Chatting is shooting the shit. I know I picked it up as a small child. I don't know whether I picked it up from my parents. I don't know whether I picked it up from a movie. I don't know whether I picked it up from people in my town. And because of the fact that I lived in so many different places growing up, I can't just be like, oh, it's a regional colloquialism from, this region of, Minnesota. I can't say that because it's I have no idea where I would have picked it up regionally, because I could have picked it up in Miami. I could have picked it up in the Bahamas. I don't think I picked it up in the Bahamas. It doesn't sound like the kind of thing that reminds me of Bahamian expressions. And I wouldn't have picked it up in the Bahamas anyway, because adults wouldn't have been saying that around me. I was 7. So I don't think that, that was where I picked it up. I could have picked it up from my parents, in which case it could be regionally associated with, Chicago, right? I could have picked it up from where I never lived, but that's the general region that my family is from. It could be from the Midwest. It could be from a Hollywood movie, which would mean that it could be from anywhere, right? I have no idea where I picked it up, and that's just kind of funny, because it could be Southern slang, it could be Miami slang, it could theoretically be Bahamian slang, it could be Chicago slang, it could be Minnesota slang. And it could be something that I heard in Hollywood, in which case it could be from anywhere. So I just don't know. I don't know where it's from. Anyway, point being, we could shoot the shit. Unfortunately, the streaming software doesn't want to pick up Wuthering Heights, so I can't dick around in that, even if I wanted to. And I don't know that I would necessarily want to. The issue is that, it's, as far as I can tell, the only thing that I can really do is, advance the plot right now. That seems like the only thing that realistically I can do is some quests and stuff, which is not a thing that I would want to stream necessarily, but is also I'm not that interested in at all, just because it's okay, great, they just introduced this mascot character, and I'm going to spend the next 6 hours of game time just being deluged with an annoying fake 8-year-old.
Because again, and I do think that this is interesting. I do find children in video games off-putting and annoying. I don't find children in real life off-putting or annoying. Children in real life are actually fine. I get along fine with children, right? I just, interact with them. Like, kid has some little... They usually have some little toy or something that they're playing with, or they have their... Like, every kid has a special interest, okay? And it's very easy to get them to yap about their special interest, and they will have a great time just yapping about whatever nonsense they're doing, whether it's some Yu-Gi-Oh thing or this, that, or the other thing. And it's very easy to yes and them in those conversations. Children are very, easy. It's easy to talk to a kid, right? Right? And I don't generally find them annoying, which is funny because every kid in a video game is the most annoying person on Earth. And I don't know where it comes from. I actually don't. I don't know where it comes. I feel like it comes from the fact that the people who make video games are all childless. I do think that. It's like they're familiar with tropes of children, but they've never met a child. In the last 30 years of their life, they've never seen a child. So they're like, okay, well, I don't know. I find myself in videos from a billion years ago cringe, so clearly 8-year-olds are cringe. And everyone agrees with this. And it's like, well, no, you find that kid cringe because they're you 20 years ago. That's not because they're intrinsically cringe. That's just you cringing at your former self. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, point being, people put kids in games and then they're very annoying. They either put kids into games and they're very annoying, or they put kids into games and it's extremely creepy, and there's very little middle ground between those two things. It's like there's just not a lot of in between with regards to how things handle kids, which I guess isn't totally true. You know who is like a perfectly reasonable and fine character who I guess doesn't get any lines, and that's why is Marlene. Marlene from Final Fantasy VII is perfectly fine as a character. I don't have any problems with Marlene. She never is upsetting. She's in the narrative. She is enthusiastically pleased to see her father, and she has lines, and she interacts with the narrative, and she's even kind of important to the plot occasionally. But she's fine. But she's also not. She's not strongly characterized, I would say. She doesn't have a very strong characterization, whereas characters that do have strong characterization tend to be very one-note and annoying, right? I'm thinking about, what is it, Leon? I think in Star Ocean: The Second Story. Who's this little kid who's he's really annoying, but I guess he's also fine. Weirdly enough, Leon is actually pretty chill, because he's really annoying, but he's annoying because his parents are assholes. He has asshole parents, and so he's trying to emulate them and what they desire in their child, which is to not have a child. So Leon gets a pass in that his characterization is annoying, but his characterization is annoying and in ways that are very believable. You see a lot of the sort of child genius trope, and I think that Star Ocean is one of the few times that I've seen the child genius trope where the child genius occasionally lets the mask slip, and you realize why they're wearing the mask in the first place, and it's because they have abusive parents. So I actually think Leon as a character is very well handled, even though he is annoying. He's a good character. And this is one of those situations where it is important to kill the part of you that cringes, not the part of you that is cringe. Leon is a character where interacting honestly with the character requires that you kill the part of you that cringes, because he's very he's well characterized. He's a very well realized character with like a narrative arc, and he's got the problems that he's got because of very specific reasons, and like he's very annoying, but also like, of course he's very annoying. He's he's a child soldier. Coming back to the child soldier arc, Leon's like 8. Is his name Leon? I think his name is Leon. Give me a second. I'm going to confirm that his name is Leon. Let's see. Star Ocean Leon. Yes, it's Leon. How old are you supposed to be canonically? Because you look like you're like 12. He's 12. Okay. I actually thought he was younger than that. I actually thought he was like 8. But I threw out the number 12 completely randomly, and that is his canonical age. So I think he's a little... I think he's a very sad and tragic character. I do. So anyway, so there are video games where they have child characters that I'm not like, that I am annoyed by, but who I think are reasonable characters and who would be. Look, I'm gonna if I meet Leon in person, I'm gonna be normal. I'm not gonna be like, an asshole to Leon. It's fine. I'm chill with Leon. I just think he's so annoying. I'm not gonna say that to his face. I'm not gonna say it to his face. And he'd probably, if I was talking to him in person, he wouldn't be annoying. Actually, now that I think about it, the fact that he's a video game character is the reason that he's annoying. If I was talking to him in person, I wouldn't have any problem talking to him probably. But at any rate, what were we talking about? What's going on? Oh, right. We were thinking about what I would do if I were to do something other than getting myself killed over and over again by Titans for very little profit, because of the fact that I'm just not intellectually engaging what I'm doing, and I need to engage to progress. Okay, I could spend 5 hours on this one pull. I could do that, and it would work eventually. However, that is not the strategy that I should be doing to get through this pull. Let's see. The issue with the Temple of Ba is that the Temple of Ba requires me to think. With this, I don't technically have to think. I'm technically chill. I can just make attempts. Like, I could literally just walk over here, and I can make attempts with this corner. And at some point, I will probably progress if I do that. So the issue with the Temple of Ba is that I went in there, and there wasn't anything that screamed at me as the solution to how to handle the entry. And because I'm so intellectually lazy at this particular moment, like, I'm not even tired, right? It's not like I'm tired and I'm just feeling dopey and tired. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not vibing with, like, the whole... The thing is, I have a lot going on in my head, and because I have so much in my head right now, there isn't space for the particular problem that I'm interacting with here, if that makes any sense. My brain's like, no, any problem that isn't this problem, please flee this problem. So, realistically, I should be honestly playing a different game for a while, but I just haven't figured out what I would want to jump into. I could do Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight could be fun. Let's see, I could do some more Monster Sanctuary. That could be fun. But I just don't know. But I should legitimately be working on something that has the possibility of hooking my brain. right? I am very good at hyper fixating on a topic and like and just doing that for a very long period of time. However, there are times when I will find it very difficult to fixate on anything for any period of time, right? So there are like moments in my life
Hexagon.
where like my attention span is more super hexagon and less thinger. We don't need hard hexagon. We need to do this. So this is a game that involves not dying, and that's the entire game. Why am I moving so slow? Oh, because I'm on the wrong thing. I haven't finished Hexagonist, right? Yes, we haven't finished Hexagonist. So basically, this is a game that we're gonna do like a couple attempts on, just for the meme mostly, but this is about the level of like intellectual development that I'm at right now. And I do come back to this game periodically. The point of the game is to move the little triangle so that it is not getting hit by the lines. That's the way. Yeah. Well, the thing that's funny is that it's not even that I don't want to think about anything. It's that this particular problem isn't a problem that my brain can fixate on right now, because I have other things that I'm cooking right now in the back of my head. So, like, I have a Coral Island save that I'm working on. I have The Root Trees Are Dead save going on. I have Silk Song that's about to come out. I have Ethermancer that's about to come out. I have a book that I just finished reading. So I've just recently released that space to the ether. And, like, I'm in a space where I'm, like, very scattered. Where it's like I need to be hooked into a problem. I need something to grab my ADHD and go, hey, it's time for a hyperfixation, baby. Let's fucking go, right? That's what I really need, is it's something that I can hyperfixate on, which means just sort of like shooting around until I find something that interests me. Because like I was, easy to just like drop into the hyperfixation for developing the lore that I came up with that I said that I didn't need to write down, that I have immediately forgotten. Something gotcha game, something whale god, etc., etc. I think that was the basic gist. Let's see, we could play Demon Bluff. We can play Fear and Hunger, which I remember at some point someone said was good, and I started playing it a little bit, and I don't get it yet. Let's see here. Not that I disagree that it's good, I just don't know. I don't get it yet. Let's see here. I've played 10 minutes of it, I think. Yeah, I've played with it 10 minutes. This is a game that I heard was art, which means that I'm going to need to dedicate more than 10 minutes to get its whole deal. We can't do the thing. We could do What Remains of Edith Finch. We're not doing What Remains of Edith Finch. We could do Baba Is You. I never don't have Baba Is You installed, so we could do Baba Is You. I made a joke about it, but I could do it. I could do Super Meat Boy, which also I have installed. One of the nice things about these kinds of games is that they're very tiny, so they're easy to just keep installed. Let's see here. But yeah, it is funny the way that brains work, where it is like I would be so on board with doing some like really intense math right now. But my brain would just glance off of like thinking about like trying to do Hollow Knight right now is like I don't want to have to tackle the problems that I'm not good enough at Hollow Knight to just play Hollow Knight. right now. I need to be able to like either focus on it or not care about how well I'm doing. You know, one of the two. We could do The King is Watching, which was fine. Let's see here. I don't really know. I don't know what to try out. Actually, because we have like over an hour left in the stream. I definitely need to figure out something. It is tempting to try to do to just putter around in Wuthering Waves, just to like show what I'm talking about. I wonder if I think I'd have to reopen Streamlabs in administrator mode to be able to see it, which would mean that I'd have to stop stream. But that would actually be fine, because if I did that, then I could start the stream under a new category as well. But the other thing is that I just don't know what I'd be doing that would be interesting for stream. I guess I could be complaining about it. I could be explaining what's going on with it. Those are all things that I could do. I could jabber. But like even like if I was doing that, the thing that would be fun to do in a game like that is to sort of like do the sort of like the grind aspect. But I haven't gotten to a point where there's really much reason to just wander around exploring and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. You know what? I'm going to do it. Let's just do a little like video review of that. I'm going to end stream and then I'm going to restart stream immediately under a different category. Because I need to close this. I think I need to close this in order to be able to screen capture the game because of their anti-cheat software. So just give me a second to make sure that they don't have some weird shit going on. I can't imagine. Everybody does like. Everybody's using there's no shot that I'm going to run into some sort of copyright issue with them. So we're gonna I'm gonna do that. We're ending stream, then the stream will come right back up. Don't worry about it. All right, be right back.